Welcome CSC200 class, independent study, to our database management concepts. A couple things you're going to need to get started with this first exercise as we start working with databases a little bit is you're going to need to log into your MyWarren account so we could download a file, and you're going to need to log into your Amazon Web Services or your Cloud9 account as we know it, and also we're going to use W3 Schools, we're going to use SQL. You're going to do a little reading in there, and if you ever need some references, they have everything you need to know about SQL. SQL is the structured query language that we'll use to make queries through our database. And then also, you might want to have your instructions out so you could work on it as you go. We're going to work with some sample queries first, then I'm going to do something like this where you're actually going to have your own queries, so you're not doing the same ones that I did, so you're not just writing down the queries that we did in the exercise. And I don't know if I'll have you put them down on a sheet or I'll have them in a quiz in MyWarren. I haven't decided that yet, but one way or another you're going to put the answers down and submit them to me so that I know you kind of went through and did it. Because otherwise you can't just send me the file. The file doesn't have any of that stuff in it. You're just going to go through a database file to find out information. So the first thing you're going to do in MyWarren is you're going to go to Documents and Resources, and you're going to download this file. You can see it says world-mysql.sql.zip. So it's zipped already. That allows it to go up and down in the MyWarren world. And then also, you're going to be able to import it just like that. So even if you wanted to, you can even download it right to your downloads and leave it there, or you could download it into a file that you have for your database class. So whatever you want to do. So even if you just downloaded it, I'm just going to download it right now, but I'd recommend that you put it somewhere else other than just downloads. But I just put it in my downloads. I don't even have to unzip it or do anything. I could just leave it in my downloads, and you're just going to use that file. And then what you're going to do, like I said, you can open up your notes. I don't have this note here. This is actually an older one, so I'm going to update it, but it's going to have a lot of the same stuff. So I'll just keep this open right now just to help guide me through this little exercise that I'm recording. And then also what you're going to do is you're going to go to Amazon or Cloud9. If you see this first, remember, just go to the button down here and you want to get to this login screen. Now I'm going to log in as my student account. Okay, so I'm logged in now, and this is my student account. And remember, I have a workspace for my CSC230 class, which is not this one, and the CSC200, which is this one. So that's my workspace. So I'm going to open that up first, and hopefully you already did that, and hopefully you already shared that with me. So after this goes a little bit, I'll see it kind of turn colors, I think. Okay, and here's my workspace set up right now. And remember, it should already be shared. If you go here to share, I can see it's shared with me and also Professor Homa, which is also me, but I know it's shared. So it should show both names there. I'm just Rich Homa. Professor Homa is my other account that will be able to see all the files. So I'm just like you. I'm just a student right now. So I don't need to do anything in here, but I'm just making sure that it's shared. And we don't have to do anything with Hello World, PHP, any of these files. We're not even going to have files open in here right now. So we don't have to do that. And then what we are going to do is we're going to use this kind of bash area here. Now, for whatever reason, if this stuff would get closed out, I'll just close this stuff, just if it was like that. What you would want to do is in your Cloud9 environment, you go to View, and you could have console is on right now, but what you really want to do is you want to make a new terminal window. That's what you really want to do. This is your kind of bash window that you want to be in. And you'll see that it'll kind of start with a $sign there, and you'll always hit enter after you do it, or return. So what I'm going to do in here first to make sure it's working, you could do two things. One, you could put in basically MySQL, and it's -control CTL, and then just do start. And you could hit enter, and there it says starting, and everything looks okay. And then you also want to do this. You want to do phpMyAdmin. Now, even if you did this before, just do it again. phpMyAdmin, and you're going to do -control. Instead of start this time, you're going to do install. And just hit enter. And you just want to make sure that everything looks okay. And the reason you want to do this is then you'll see a URL here that you're going to want to click on. That'll open up in a separate window, and that's where you're actually going to work on your phpMyAdmin. So this is where we're going to do our work. We're not going to do anything here. This will just be kind of running in the background. And remember, this is all running off a server. That's why we're doing this. Everything we're doing, our databases run off a server. We can't do anything locally unless you were working in Microsoft Access or something. We're not doing anything local. Everything's going to be on a server. That's why we're going through this bash terminal to kind of connect. and everything's hosted through Cloud9 right now. So we're going to select on here right now, and notice it says my username is Richard Homa, and it's going to be the same username for Cloud9. So it's not a special username for phpMyAdmin, it's just your regular Cloud9 username, and you won't need a password. So I'm just going to click on this. It's hard to see, but I'm just going to click on this link here, and I'll just hit open, and it'll open another tab, and it should have your username in there. If not, put in your username. If it's blank in here, then put it in. If you've already done it, it should kind of prompt you, and you don't need a password, so you're just going to hit go, and that's it. And you're gonna come into your phpMyAdmin interface, and I'm just going to go over some of this on this first video. We probably won't do any queries yet, but one of the things in here, there's two themes in here. One's original. It's kind of an old school looking theme. We probably want the one that it comes up initially is the PHP and the font size is 82%. You might want to make that a little bigger, make it like 92%. And that's for everything. That's for all the fonts. And there's also something, when we start doing queries, the font size on the queries are going to be real small, and I'll show you how to adjust that too, because we have to do something through Chrome. I assume you might be using Chrome, so for Chrome people, I'll show you what to do. But anyway, this is the main window that you'll see in phpMyAdmin, and you'll see this C9 is the default database that's there initially, and there's nothing in it. And just to see this, the things you see over here are also will kind of mirror things you'll see over here. And this is your breadcrumb trail along the top. That's your server, so you're not really seeing anything right now. You're not seeing databases unless you went to databases. So if you went to databases, you would then see all your databases that are here, C9, the same thing that's over here. So if you went back here, that kind of takes you to your home page. So whenever you go on server, it's kind of like your home page. If you needed to change the font or anything like that in your appearance, you could go here. Okay, so that's your main setup, and we'll go through these up top, but the only one to note so far is databases that you could go into. And if I go into databases, I'll see C9, and if I click on C9, I'm not going to really see anything because there's no tables, there's nothing in it. It's kind of an empty database right now, so there's nothing to see. So I'll go back to server, and we're going to import a database that we could work on. And we use this one in other classes, the one we just downloaded, but the way we bring it in here to phpMyAdmin, and it'll stay in here, is we're going to go to import. So I'll go to import right now, and this is pretty easy. There's not a lot of steps here. I'm just going to go choose file, and I'm going right to my downloads, because that's where I put it right now. And you can bring in the one that has .sql.zip. And if you don't believe me, it says right here. It says if it's compressed, it has to have SQL and .zip. Otherwise, you could bring in just a .sql as well. So I'm just going to hit choose file again. I'm going to go to my downloads because I didn't even save it anywhere else. And I'm going to hit open. And there it is. That's the file I want to bring in. You don't have to change anything else. It just says format SQL, and that's fine. And then you're just going to scroll down and you're going to hit go. And once you hit go, it should bring in your database. And there it is. It says import has been successfully finished. Queries, blah, blah, blah. So there is your world database. And notice it doesn't even say world.sql. It says world. So there's your world database. So if you want to look at it, you could click here. And what it shows you, when you click on a database, what it will show you initially is the structure. The structure is how the database is created, and databases are made out of tables. They could be one or more tables. And right now there's a city table, there's a country table, and there's a country language table. That's what this world database is composed of. And also, if you go into one of these, if I go into city, what I'll see in here is basically it goes to browse, and that's what's showing up in the city table. There's my database. Now it has all this edit, copy, delete stuff, but there's my database. It has an ID, it has Kabul, it has country code. These are the fields up top that I'm seeing. So I'm seeing this on top of the columns, I'm seeing the fields. And if I wanted to see basically the structure of this, the structure of the table, there's all my fields. There's an ID field, there's a name field, a country code and a district field, and a population field. And we're going to set up fields when we build our own databases, but this one is already set up. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields that we have to deal with right now. Some of them can take numbers, some of them can take letters, some are just auto-incrementing IDs. Some just have an ID number, just like you would have a student ID as a student for school. So that's the structure of the city. And if you're not sure where you are, just look up here. I can see I'm in city, which is inside the world database, which is back to the server. So if you'd ever want to go back to the server, you could go to there. Now, one thing we're also going to do here is, I guess I'll point this out now, is that when we go into SQL, when we do queries here, when we type these in, we're going to type in stuff that say like select all and from, and eventually once we do this one time, well, we're not going to get anything right now because I'm not inside somewhere. Where I really should go is I'll go inside the city. I'll go inside the city table, and then I'll go back to SQL, and then you'll have a little more detail there. There you can see I have it's showing me the column names or the field names. It's giving me some buttons down here, and let's say select all from city. I could just stop that right there. And I'll just show everything from city right now. And this is a query, and we're going to obviously make more detailed queries. But the reason I'm in here, again, is not to show you this. It's to actually show you that this is fairly easy to read, but when you go in here, it'll be really tiny. This font, this monospace font, will be really tiny. And it does not change when you go to here. This font size does not change the font that shows up in here. So this font would be really tiny. You might say, well, why isn't it tiny? It's because I already changed it. And what I actually had to do, if you go into Chrome and you go into your preferences, however you get into your preferences, the little icons, I'll go to Chrome preferences. Normally you could go into Chrome and you could go to font size, and I'll just go into font size, or I'll go into customize fonts. And normally you can't change these individually. They have fixed width font and sans serif, and if you change one, they all change. So everything's going to be bigger, everything's going to be smaller. What I really want to do is I want to make this fixed width font or monospace font, and Monaco is the one I'm using on the Mac. You might be using a different one on Windows. I want to make this one bigger because that's what the code shows up in. And what I did is I installed an extension. I'll open the extension. I just had to go. You might have installed extensions before. These things are all little extensions, pop-up blockers, all kinds of things, things that select colors from the page. It's really easy to just go extensions and find one. And this one was called Advanced Font Settings. And it was a real easy extension to find, and I'll show you what that is. I think if you click over here, it brings it up. It's called Advanced Font Settings. And the only thing it does is it allows you to adjust fonts based on the type. So I can make the fixed width font bigger, because I think by default it was like, and it's actually 13 by default. So when you go in here, that's really tiny. You're going to start being like, wow, that's a little hard to see. I mean, maybe you won't, but it looks a little hard to see. So again, what you could do is you could go into Advanced Font Setting, go into Settings, and then if you put this extension on, it gives you an extra little button to go in and adjust these. So I could just change just the fixed width fonts and put them up to like 20. For me, that's good. You might just want to go up to 16 or 18 or something, and then apply the settings. And that should be on Mac and Windows that you should be able to add that extension. And again, it's not super powerful, but it was able to do that. So now when I go in here, it makes my code easier to work with up here. So that's just one thing I want to point out as you're getting set up. So again, just to review the whole setup here, we opened up our workspace for our csc200, and then it opens up in a different window like this, and that's my folder. And then I ran you can see my code here. I ran the mysql-control start and hit enter. I ran the phpMyAdmin control install and hit enter, and it got me started, and it gave me a link. When I clicked on the link and I just hit open, it brought me here in phpMyAdmin. This is where we're going to be doing most of our work initially in our databases. And then eventually we'll be working with web pages that connect to these databases. But we're just working with the databases right now, and we're working with the world one, which has 3 tables in it: city, country, and country language. And you could click on any of these and kind of browse the table. You know, you could sort them and look through here and find out all that information. It's good to know what's in here, because when we start to do queries, you're going to want to know, well, what is the country code and things. We'll work with city because they're a little less. There's only ID, name, country code, district, and population. Even for like United States, instead of state, they have district. So we could find everything in a certain district of Pennsylvania or something like that, or New Jersey or whatever. So we're going to work with that as we continue. So that's getting set up, importing. And remember, when you're in phpMyAdmin, we import it using the import button. So the buttons we have to know, or the tabs we have to know so far: import, that's what we brought our database into, and then we downloaded it from MyWarren. We imported it in. Browse is just looking at whatever table we're in. We could just browse through it, and it only shows three 30 rows at a time, and you could change that, but that's by default. It'll show 30 rows at a time, so you have to be careful and see how many there are total. There's 4,079 total, but I'm only seeing 30 rows at a time. And then also structure is basically how the table's set up by the field names or the column names. You could use both names. I think they call them columns in here, but they're really. And after that, we could use operations to change names and things like that. But there's not a whole else lot to do right now because we're going to start doing some queries, and we're going to do queries through our SQL tab. This is where we're going to run queries, and we're going to learn about queries from our W3 Schools SQL. They tell you everything about the. If you scroll here, you could see the first query here. Try it yourself. They even have little practice stuff in here. Select all from customers, and you run the SQL, and it shows you kind of the results down here in their kind of default database that they have set up. So this won't be that hard. Actually, the SQL language isn't that hard. You know, you're just sending little commands just to find out stuff. And then when we're done, we're going to answer some questions. So what I'll do next, I'll close up this. I think my settings are okay. I'll close up that. I'll close up my advanced font settings. And I'll keep everything else open. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go through and do some queries and show you how to find out the results. And then you're going to do that on your own and then send me the results. So that'll be in the next part or the next video.